Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the Delta Report. We got a number of things I'm going to talk about today. One of the things I'm going to talk about is channel changes for the Delta Report right here. It's going to be probably a month or two before I get these channel changes made. One of the biggest changes is going to be that the time of the release of the shows is going to be a set time. I haven't exactly narrowed the time down, but it's probably going to be for both of my channels every day, probably either 12 o'clock, I'm thinking, or 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And this is going to be a couple months before this is implemented. Plus, we're going to have new set. We're going to have a new clearer audio for you guys to listen to, and new clearer video performance. I'm already using the new clearer image digital cameras. They produce a sharper image, and I'm getting used to them now, and a number of changes that I'm making. Now, the first thing I want to talk about today is 4% of Americans say they have quit their jobs thanks to their gains in cryptocurrencies. We're going to open up the charts right here and take a look. They say they've quit their jobs. And I'm going to tell you, I'm in America right now, and I am seeing so many job openings. Everywhere I see, they're looking for employees here in America, and that's very interesting as far as I'm concerned. But it says 4% of Americans have quit their jobs. Now, I'm going to tell you what, they're talking here, and they say that 4% of Americans shaved their job over the last year due to financial freedom earned by investing in cryptocurrency, and another 7% say they know somebody who has quit their job because of cryptocurrency. It says that most of these people quitting their jobs, it's not because they're Bitcoin millionaires, but it is just the opposite. Most of those quitting their jobs are in the lowest income brackets. In other words, they will be back to work someday. Whether demand for work returns gradually or all at once will be a key question for markets and the economy going forwards. So, you get a lump of money. Okay, you get people that have their cryptocurrencies, and they get a big lump of money from selling them or whatever. They're going to have to sell them in order to, if they're not working, and the stimmy checks aren't coming any longer. Other types of government support are weak compared to what the stimmy checks and the unemployment benefits were during the COVID crisis. This seems to me this has kind of led to this situation, and gains in crypto, and gains, and some people made quite good gains, substantial gains in the stock market. And so this is right. We're probably going to see a lot of these people returning back to work if we don't go into further fiscal stimulus measures in the future very soon. Now, in other news, another thing I wanted to talk about today is we're going to switch over here to an incident that happened in the South China Sea. The South China Sea has an awful lot of these underwater, they're like mountains underneath the water, and they come up just underneath the surface of the water, and they are a lot of sand on top of them and stuff. Now, the Chinese went in there and they made these artificial islands in that area, and so for navigation underneath the water, it's a tremendously difficult region. So evidently, this nuclear-powered submarine hit one of these underwater mountains in the South China Sea, and China's demanding answers about it. The incident happened on October 2nd. A nuclear-attack submarine was damaged in the South China Sea after an underwater collision. Beijing has not let go of the issue. They say the potential for dangerous nuclear leakage. And they're talking about Washington's lack of transparency over the incident, which injured 11 sailors on board. And let's see, it says here what the sub's name was. It says the Connecticut. It was commanded by Officer Cameron. Alagini, I guess his name was. It's a very difficult name to pronounce. And it says that the action was taken due to loss of confidence. Thomas determined sound judgment, prudent decision making, and adherence to required procedures in navigational planning. They say that team execution and risk management could have prevented the incident, according to a statement. The submarine struck an uncharted seamount. Well, you know what makes these seamounts and stuff? There's underwater volcanoes, and they're like underwater mountains in the South China Sea. Now, the South China Sea is a very interesting place. There's a big situation going on over Taiwan and the South China Sea, and it's a hot spot right now in the world for it's a spot of, let's call it this way, tension in the world right now. So we've had this incident right now, and the United States is claiming what's called freedom of navigation in the area, which means that they can move through the area freely. A few years ago, they had in the Court of The Hague, they had a ruling that said that they are entitled to freedom of navigation through the South China Sea, but China is very much protective over that area. Let's just put it that way, you know. And there's hot spots in the world right now. Iran is a hot spot. Seems to be cooling down a little bit over the last few weeks. We have Ukraine is another hot spot. The hot spots don't seem to be heating up right now like they were a few months ago, and this is a good thing, you know. And also, the South China Sea is a hot spot, and Taiwan is a hot spot. These are hot spots in the world. It could start problems down the road from these hot spots, and it seems like whenever problems do come, you know, that these hot spots are the places that are involved. Now, as far as cryptocurrency is concerned, China's going through a period of trouble right now. Over Evergrande situation and what was, up until quite recently, a red-hot real estate market. Suddenly we see a downward turn in that, and that's a huge $60 trillion industry, is the Chinese real estate industry. It makes up something like 29% of the Chinese GDP. China being the second biggest economy in the world. We could see if a massive cooling comes into the real estate market, this will trigger problems in the West. If we do get problems in the West, it's going to affect the price of cryptocurrency. And that's what I'm interested in a lot on this channel. But when I make my new format changes, I'm probably going to be talking about cryptocurrency about once a week. And I'm going to go back a little bit to some of my old school Delta report. Now, if you guys remember what the old school Delta report shows were like, I used to talk about more news items and things that are going on in the world, you know, and sometimes I did it in audio. Well, if you guys watched the channel for a long time, you remember some of the old school stuff that I used to do. I'm going to go back a little bit to more old school on here, so on certain days. You guys seem to really enjoy the old school programs I used to produce on here. And so some days I'll talk about cryptocurrency, of course, and especially if there's large price movements, upswings to the upside or to the downside. I know a lot of you guys are interested in cryptocurrencies, and I mean, I've been in cryptocurrencies since like 2013. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next show, and have a great day. Bye-bye.